Hi, my name is Dennis Spurling. I'm not a lawyer, but my daddy is.
Yeah, if you've been hurt in a car accident, call my daddy.
No need to scream and yell like a little kid.
Yeah, no yelling.
My daddy will fight for your rights.
Yeah, fight for your rights.
If you've been involved in a car accident, call my daddy, returning Dennis Spurling.
Hello, I'm attorney Dennis Spurling. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call me at 713-229-0770.
Call my daddy, daddy.
And for you men out there, you simps, who are defending this degenerate behavior by black women, because to you, the black woman is queen, understand that you are nothing more than an enabler. You are her heroin dealer. You are the one that protects her and feeds her this degenerate drug, and allows for this immoral character, which is undermining our nation of black people. And you too deserve what she gets, chastisement. But because you're a man and you're in the way of progress, you are our enemy. Because anyone who is in the way of black men correcting the bad behavior of black women, you, sir, are an adversary. Now, I understand there are a lot of black men who have daughters, and your natural inclination is to protect your daughter. But if your daughter is exhibiting poor behavior, and you are not correcting that whore behavior and thus intensifying the problems that we have here in the United States, then you're an inadequate father. You're a weak man, and you didn't deserve to be a father in the first place. More importantly, you're not operating by the code that you need to operate by, and you need to be checked because you're out of line. You got a new group of black men coming along.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to the broadcast. I hope everybody is having a good day, good night, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, man. Shout out to everybody who came through. I wasn't here yesterday because I had a case that I've been working on for a couple of years where a young lady died, and she was overserved at a bar, and so I had to focus on that yesterday, and that's why I wasn't here. And I had a deposition. I have another deposition on that case coming up on this week, but nevertheless, I'm here now. So welcome to the broadcast. I appreciate y'all. Let me see what we got here. Who we got up in here, man? Shout out, hit the number 1 button. Let me know you guys in here. Let me see. We got y'all like the thumbnail. I appreciate that. Somebody said, Big JXX Simp Enforcer. Can't wait. The plantation bro Taz is attacking your family. Dennis, he need that work that only a lawyer could. But see, here's the problem you got to understand, brother. Some people are just not. I know the gentleman you're talking about. I don't know him per se, but he's too poor to sue. I actually had prepared a lawsuit where I was going to sue him and a couple of other people. But after doing the preliminary investigation, and I'll actually put this up so you guys can see, they just too broke to sue. You know, I just hate to say it like that, but some people just aren't worth suing. But the gentleman you're talking about, his name is Shannon Tazar Allen, also known as Allen S. Tazar, Taz Exclusives, the GOAT. Yeah, he's just too broke to sue. But, you know, at the end of the day, he's just talking. Let him keep talking. God bless him. Wish him well. Y'all tell him I said hello. And in fact, you know, I don't have nothing to say about him or anybody else. Actually, they're entitled to speak. They're entitled to say what they want to say. But at the end of the day, the reason I'm doing well here is because you all hear the truth and you respect it. But I appreciate y'all looking out for me. I know y'all trying to look out for Uncle D, but that's okay. I want them to hate. I want them to hate. I wish well, let me say it like this. Better adversaries will come along, and then you guys will see me deal with those adversaries. I prefer people like the federal government, senators, congressmen. I don't fight down, I fight up. But that young man he's too poor to sue. He's a poor man. You know, he's just a poor brother and trying to make a few dollars. So God bless him. Wish you well, Mr. Tezar. God bless you. Keep saying what you're saying. I hope you get your likes up and get your money up, but you're too poor to sue, bro. You don't have enough money. I wait for better adversaries. Most of these, Mr. Allen is his name. So shout out to Mr. Shannon Tazar Allen. Y'all go over there and give a shout out to his page, him and all his people. But yeah, I thought about suing them 2 years ago, but they're just too goddamn broke. That'd be a waste of the $402 it would cost to file suit on that case. So shout out to him. Keep up the good work. All you guys out there, I want their hate. I want them to focus on me. I want them to hate me and talk bad about me as much as they can. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, that's how this is supposed to go. I enjoy being the bad guy. But other than that, big shout out to Dusty Nuts. Thank you so much. You in the building. Who else we got up in here, man? Let me see. Where my wrench mob at? All the ice lords. If I'm the Blizzard King, these are the ice lords, man. We turning that cold shoulder. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all hit the #1 button. Make sure you hit the #1 button. Let me know you are in here. Let me know you guys appreciate what I'm doing. And we're going to have a real good conversation tonight. You know, look, man, I'm just trying to do my part here to protect the image of black men and black boys. And anybody who stands against that, I can't believe you got black men standing against that. That's just ridiculous. Fool, I'm trying to save you from getting shot by the police. I'm trying to make sure that you get that home loan that you need by helping change your reputation. What dummy in his right mind, what black man in his right mind would be against that? That just sounds crazy to me, but it just lets you know that we got a lot of black folks that don't have good sense, which is why for the most part, you don't pay attention to most of them. You know what I'm saying? You listen to the ones who've proven themselves in real life, who have actual skin in the game, who've actually done things. So either way, man, where my wrench mob at? Shout out to the wrench mob. Wrench mob is deep up in here. Y'all keep the chat room clean, keep it clear. Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you so much. Nevertheless, let's do this. Let's talk. Let's chop it up. Hit the #1 button. Let me know you in here. So here's the thing, family. I recently have been asked, as you guys know, and those of you guys who follow my post, I was invited to, I was nominated and I accept a position as a non-voting member of the board of directors to the Freedmen Affairs PAC of Texas. And the PAC is a political action committee. They do lobbying. And I look forward to doing that. Again, I said non-voting. I'm a member. Basically, I'm an advisor. I'm kind of acting as their advisor when they need me. They call me. That's kind of as far as I want to go into politics. For me to actually enter into politics will be a step down as far as money-making ability. I don't believe that you should get into politics while you have young children. I believe I need to focus 100% on raising my sons and you know, and at the point where they get older, then things maybe be a little bit different. But for the most part, I'm just solely interested on being an advocate for Black men and Black boys, and I can do that from being nominated and then accepting this position as board of directors to the Freedmen Affairs PAC of Texas. And as I said, I'll continue my advocacy for Black men and Black boys, you know, on a legislative level. Now, the thing is, we need more Black men in these administrative positions, qualified Black men, you know, those who understand political science, those who have degrees. We need more Black men in law school. We need more Black men in the judiciary. We need more Black men practicing law. This is how we affect policy. We affect the policy by being involved in the policy, and this is going to be a great step for our sons, our grandsons, our nephews. Now, the other thing I've been invited to do, and I'm really excited about this, actually, it's some other people that you know here on YouTube, some other scholarly people that you also know, have been invited to attend the state of Maryland legislative meeting. Shout out to B Moore, shout out to Maryland, to discuss two proposed bill, SB 410, which is something designed to end false paternity in Maryland, right? And the ironic thing is, a lot of people who follow my page actually came up with this idea, okay? So that lets me know that the work I'm doing is going good. And big shout out to my man, Mr. Palmer, because I tell him all the time, his work is important. People like the Medium Man, people like Mr. Palmer, they do great work. Okay, it's one thing for me to come in and round all their information up and put it in and spit it back to you. But those people, they collect testimony. The Medium Man, shout out to him too. He does a lot of data work. I'm a big fan of both of those guys. So shout out to them, Mr. Palmer and the Medium Man here on YouTube. But yeah, one of them is ending false paternity in Maryland. And the other one is ending license suspensions for child support. Shout out to Steven. What do I mean by that? You know how when you get back on your child support, they take your driver's license away? So how are you supposed to go to court? How are you supposed to go to work if you don't have a driver's license? Right? And so then what does that do? That puts you in a deeper hole, because now you don't have a driver's license. You can't go to work. You end up getting some sort of traffic ticket or traffic violation. And now you got warrants out for your arrest. And so you can't work anywhere, you see? So, the thing is, it puts you in a terrible situation. And that's not just Black men, that's all men. And so what we have to do as men who operate and run this country, we have to make it a point to make sure that it's a fair system for men, especially because when men stop cooperating with the system, and guess what? The system breaks down. And it's not fair for a man to be paying for a child that's not his. It's also not fair for a man to have his license taken away from him because he gets short on his child support. How is he supposed to pay in the first place? Shout out to Jay Stuller, right? Shout out to you. Nevertheless, here's the thing, family. The natural position of a man is as leader. And I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound sexist to you, but that's okay. You should not willingly allow women to rule over you, fellas. Okay? What does that mean? All right. Well, shout out to Dusty Nuts. He said if there's some language that could be added for professional license as well, it would be valuable instead. Economic castration. Yeah, that's true too, because there are people you're engineer or something like that, and then they come in and yeah, I think we're going to start with the driver's license, but you're going to start seeing more things change. The more men like myself get involved in people who've lived this experience, the more we get involved, the more things will start changing and becoming fair for men. It's not right that you got these women who take the children away from the men, prevent the men from even seeing the kids, and then hit them with child support. On top of that, 30% of men who were tested to determine whether or not they were the fathers, guess what happened? Turns out that those men weren't. So out of 300,000 men here in the United States, 30% of them weren't even the dad. So you got paternity fraud is rampant in the United States. And that's something that we need to deal with. That's not fair. And the only way it's going to become fair is if we get more men involved in men, especially men with that lived experience involved in making sure this sort of fraud doesn't take place. And on top of that, you got kids. You got kids who are being raised by men who they think are their children, and there's not, and that just tears up the family. So let's not do that. Nevertheless, and again, you guys, y'all keep telling me that the brothers over there having a whole show. Shout out, go over there and tell them I said thank you so much for talking about me on his page. Y'all keep bringing the brother up. Like I said, he has a right to speak. Okay, go tell Taz that he has a right to speak, and we salute him. All you black men out there who have things to say, you have your right to your voice. Speak, be free, speak. So don't worry about that man. Let that man make all the money he can. I told y'all after doing my research and doing the financial research on him, he was too broke to sue. So it's not worth it for me to even pay any attention to him. Okay, every time. I'm just saying, brother, I need better adversaries. You see what I'm saying? He's too poor to sue. Okay, so that's not worth it. And I mean, hell, I've sued people for far less than that. He's too poor to sue. So just let him go on. We need better adversaries. When we get some better adversaries, then I may attack. But I fight up, not down. Okay, I fight senators, I fight congressmen. I fight the legal system. I fight legislature. That's who I fight. I don't want to fight some guy who's just trying to make a few dollars to take care of himself. Y'all go give him a cash app or something like that, man. You know what I'm saying? And the only reason y'all saw me fight with those people who were attacking Kevin Samuels, those small time, struggle streamers, is because I told his mom that I would do that. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that was my friend, and I stood next to this man and said he was my friend, so I had to do that. I was kind of obligated to do that. I fought everybody who ran up. But as far as what these young men say about me, man, I told you, they're too poor. They don't have enough money to sue. I don't. That's a waste of time. You understand what I'm saying? It's not worth it. Let that man talk. He's trying to build his channel up. He's trying to get cash up. The man literally needs the money that he makes here to survive. So that black man is just trying to make money. I'd rather him be doing this than out there committing crimes. This is actually positive. Him talking about me is positive compared to what a lot of these other black men are doing out there, doing illegal things. And I'd rather him be safe at home on his sofa or in the basement or wherever the brother is, God bless him, making noise about me. That's cool. I'm okay with that. You see what I'm saying? So let that brother go. And his name is Mr. Allen. Tell Mr. Allen, who y'all call Shannon Tazar Allen, tell him I'm okay with him making money, man. I don't want any more brothers to have to go to jail because they committed stupid crimes. What he's doing is legal. I'm not. I want him to make money. Everybody deserves a second chance. You see what I mean? Third, fourth chance, whatever. God bless him. I wish him well. Hopefully, he'll be able to get himself a new sofa to broadcast from. Shout out to him. And I'm giving him play right now, man. You're gonna get some new followers because Uncle D sent the people over to you. Praise God. Amen. But nevertheless, let's get on back to what we're talking about over here. What we're talking about here is leadership. Okay, again, as I said, the natural position of man is leader, and you shouldn't allow women to rule over you. Okay, that's the thing you need to understand. Not willingly, because it's a sign that you as a man become lazy. Okay, you got your wife at home writing the checks in the checkbook, you're lazy, right? She's making the decisions, all the major decisions. That means you've gotten lazy as a man. That's what that means. Okay, fellas? That means you're not on your job. Big shout out to Randy Booth. Thank you so much. Appreciate that cash out. That means you've gotten lazy. All right, little things like that. What I want, in fact, here's the thing. You need to actually, fellas, start elbowing these women out the way. right? These strong, independent, I don't need a man. Start elbowing them out the way. And if you begin to take up the roles of leadership, then you'll actually begin to get more respect, right? You'll get more respect, especially if you're adding value, okay? Especially if you're adding value to the situation. Now, the thing you got to understand is leadership can be tough, but it's definitely worth it, right? And so, you need to prepare to make tough decisions. Now, there are some places you can learn leadership. Many of you guys who've been in the military, some of you have been in politics, those are great places. Hell, going through playing team sports, basketball, football, those are great places. Of course, running a business, guaranteed this is going to be a great adventure for you, one of the greatest in your lifetime. And what it'll do is it'll teach you strategy, it'll teach you understanding, it'll teach you preparedness. The reason I'm successful is because I have good leadership skills. All my businesses have been successful because of leadership skills. You got to have leadership. Anytime you see a broke, busted, disgusted man, that means he has poor leadership skills, right? You can't hold on to this, you can't hold on to that, can't balance your budget. You got poor leadership skills. And unfortunately, a lot of you men, you'll never learn to be leaders unless you're forced to the position of being a leader, right? Now, here's the thing. When you begin to take power and positions away from these lovely ladies, whether it be your house, whether it be the women in your family, whether it be in politics or business, they're going to fight you. They're going to fight you. They're not just going to give up that power, because that's what masculine women do. Shout out to my man Will, right? They fight you because that's their masculine women. Shout out to Passport Bros, Barber's World. All right. And you have to expect that, right? But the thing is, it is man's job to dominate. It's not woman's job to dominate man. Okay. And so, the proper attitude you should have is you're not asking for permission to take control and be in charge. That's not your job to do that. Instead, you take the position that, how are you going to stop me from being in charge? That's the proper position for you as a man to take, basically go on the offense. Now, the thing is, you got to understand, because we have a simp society, you got to expect that a lot of these simps are going to step up and they're going to say, these brainwashed Queen Mother Goddess simp chip, fully activated guys are going to step up and they're going to try to play Captain Saber broad. Okay. But that's not something that, that's not something that you need to, that needs you concern yourself with. You beat them back too. All right. They're in their feelings. They're acting like women. It is what it is. But the bottom line, you as a man have to do what men do. And we're going to take a quick break. We will be right back.
So it's a village girl here, and I want to make something clear. There is this misconceptions that you ladies have, that these men are coming to us because we are poor, because your dollar is expensive here in Kenya. You think life is cheap here in Kenya? $1 is equals to one loaf of bread. So why would you think that they are coming to us? What makes you think that we are poor? Okay, you're saying they're traveling for sex. So what is holding them back to stick to you and have sex with you? What will make a man pay so much money to come to a country like this for a woman? It's because we are giving them the peace they want. We are giving them the love that they want. We are giving them the serenity they are looking for in their homes. There are so many men out here, black men, who have their families. They are happy here. But you are out there online bashing them, calling them names. By the way, if I'm from the village and I'm defending the Passport Bros, ask yourself what is going to happen once everybody is against your insults. Because we are not going to let you humiliate these men. They deserve the best. I'm not saying this because I have one in my life. No, I'm saying this because I've been watching these videos like crazy every day. And we have good internet in the village, so you can imagine how it's working for me. And it's not your Passport Bro that installed it, as you all think. So calling us naive, it's never gonna work. Insulting the Passport Bros, we're gonna be clapping back at you, ladies. Yes, we support you, honestly. We support your education. We support your high, valuable women. But the only thing we are not going to support you is you insulting men. These men are our tomorrow's leader. If they give you an opportunity to lead, you will lead with your emotions. A man leads with logics. And when a man is leading, I don't see anything going wrong. So can we learn how to give them the respect they deserve? Ladies, can we be strong?
All right. Shout out to the African sister from Kenya for giving a wise word to these lovely ladies over here, basically telling them to sit your ass down. Nevertheless, let's get back to the conversation. Now, here's the thing, fellas. As I said earlier, leadership is a natural position of man. You should be the head. You should be. You have to learn to be a leader, and you have to practice being a leader. That's why I tell you guys, you should not get married. You should not try to become the leader of a family until well after you reach the age of maturity, which is sometimes after 35, closer to 40, especially if you haven't had any real world information. Shout out to RDD. He said, welcome to the membership, bro. Appreciate you. But anyway, let's do this. Let's move forward. Now, unique to the United States and unique to Black Americans, what you're going to find is, and actually this is something that's spreading everywhere. Let me explain something to you. Women make better prisoners, and they also make better employees, and they also make better citizens. Shout out to Billy the Kid. He said, how does reverse legislation work, Uncle D? We need to talk. You need to hit me up. That's a long ass conversation, bro. I'm not about to break that down on here. But nevertheless, the elites in the government and the special interest group, they understand that they want to keep women in charge, because by keeping women in charge, they keep strong men out of power. The last thing they want to have to deal with is a bunch of strong, empowered men out there telling them what to do. So you're going to, and this, no matter what ethnicity you're dealing with, black, white, whatever, but specifically for Black men, there's going to be a political parties that are interested in keeping you out of power, keeping you feeling as though you're helpless, and keeping the women in charge and on top of you and in charge of you. So what you're going to have to do is recognize that that's what you're dealing with. Nevertheless, understand, fellas, that there's nothing that men who come together, strong-willed men who come together can't do. All right. There's no amount of mystic and magic and hocus pocus and voodoo that can stop men who are wielding steel and willing to give blood and break bones to get done. And I'm talking figuratively, not literally. All right. But what I'm saying is steel and blood and bone is what conquered and tamed the world, not magic and mysticism. In other words, words and chanting and all that. No, you go in there and you start acting like men, and you do what men have to do, and you will force this government to basically give men what they demand. All right. But it requires you guys standing up, voting your interests, specifically putting people in office that support traditional values and men working and those things that have gotten us this far in society. Okay. Now, the thing is, you might be saying, well, does Uncle D want to return to the old school? Is that what he wants? Hell no. No. You think I'm not telling you to put women back in the kitchen? I don't want them to be barefoot and pregnant. I'm telling you the exact opposite. I want y'all to hear me very closely. Okay. I want you guys to begin to treat women just like they are men who are competing for your jobs. In other words, I want men to be as ruthless and competitive with women as they are with other men. Did you hear that? Stop holding back. Stop allowing them to take your positions and push you over, and you're holding back. So on one hand, you're giving them the equal opportunity. On the other hand, you're not treating them like you would treat a man. You hold back. They do it in the military. They have one set of standards for men and another set of physical standards for women. If a woman puts some pads on and she wants to come play football with the fellas, hell, treat her like she's a freshman on a high school team. Don't hold back. Give her exactly what she's asking for. Give her that equal treatment. if women act like men, treat them like men. I want to say this again. I am not a misogynist. I am not a sexist. I believe that everybody should compete equally. If you're a man, you're a woman, I'm no respecter of persons. You get your ass out there and you do what you have to do just like every other man. You treat women just like they're treated. And if a woman can make it under the same standards and harshness and brutality that men can make it under, she deserves it. And she deserves your respect. Right? And I'm gonna say now it's gonna be few and far between. But that's what you got to do, fellas. Because as long as you hold back, these women are always gonna be treated like, well, yeah, they made it, and you're always gonna have animosity directed towards them. All right. Now, as far as you guys, do you need to prove to women that you can lead? I don't know. Do you lead a middle-class lifestyle? Are your bills paid in full? Huh? Have you ever been to jail? You know, these are questions you should ask yourself. Do you have a bunch of kids running around that you're not taking care of? That's something you got to ask yourself. Are you generally respected by people who know you? Huh? Because if that's the case, if those things are the case, right, then that's really all the proof that you need to demonstrate that you have good leadership skills, right? That's it. And the question that you should ask from the women around you is, do they have good follower skills? You understand what I'm saying? Because sometimes you can be a great leader and have horrible followers and end in calamity. You understand what I'm saying? Now, the thing I want to tell you guys about also is that there's a moral component involved in this whole conversation. Right. And what I want to talk to you guys about is this, and specifically to the Black community. For about the past 55 years, our Black American women have held themselves out as the backbone of the Black community. They run the Black community. They proud to tell you that. We the leaders, right? Backbone, right? But look at it. The first opportunity that they were presented with, what did they do? They left the Black community. They abandoned the Black community. They took what the government had to offer. And so we're going to talk about that when we get right back. Y'all hit the number 1 button.
Are Black women just inherently ungrateful? Because let me put it in context for you. When I read Chancellor Williams' book, Destruction of Black Civilization, I noticed that when the Northern invaders came down, Black women opened themselves up, allowed themselves to be impregnated, raised the invaders' children, and it was that same buffer class of children that turned on their African family, their mother's family, the indigenous Africans, and allowed those Northern invaders to come in and take over what we have now as Africa, basically a conquered continent. I look at books like Daughters of the Trade, which took place in 1500 all the way, during the transatlantic slave trade. It was African women who allowed these Dutch and European slave traders to marry into those families. They literally took care of these men and helped conduct the slave trade. They would enslave men and women. And when I look at that, it's like, damn, I'm starting to see a pattern. When I come over here to the United States, South Carolina, I believe, I forget that, what's that major city in South Carolina? Charleston, South Carolina. 60% of the Black slave owners in South Carolina, and yes, Black people did own slaves, 60% of the Black slave owners in South Carolina were Black women. And so, and then I look at the fact that, yeah, you know what, a lot of these so-called captive sex slaves in these relationships with these white men were happy to do that because it meant they get to sleep in master's bed. They got to have masters half white bastard babies. They got treated a little bit better. They butter biscuits a little warmer, had a little bit more butter on it. You see them? They get to say, my babies is my man. These are man. And they might mess around and inherit some money. Hell, when I look at the HR department right now in some of these white companies, them goddamn human resource directors, those Black ones, damn, they give brothers the hardest time. So it's like, it's almost like, and please put me in my place if I'm wrong, but it seems to me as though Black American women have been the best assistant to the white man in his oppression of Black people since the first black man, since the first northern invader came into Africa. Does that mean we are inherently, our sisters are inherently untrustworthy? Are they inherently arrogant? Do they just think that little of us? Help me.
All right. I hope you guys got an earful on that. Yeah, we're getting deep down in here in this, man. Y'all hit the number one button, show your appreciation. But following that conversation, fellas, and I want to talk about that. I mean, because when I look at the Asian man, I look at the white man, I look at the Latino man. Everybody has a chance to rule. Black Africans had 80,000 years to rule, and our black women sat right next to us, and they reaped the benefit of that. Now that the white man's turn to rule, it's like they were quick to trade us in. You know, they were quick to sell us out. Nevertheless, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the black man has always been, historically been, too open to other ideas. He's been xenophilic. He's loved other people, whereas the rest of the world, they've been xenophobic. They tend to want to keep people out. And so like that, and that culture comes from the women, because the women pass the culture down. Our women have been entirely too open, and too open in the literal sense, open enough to have these folks kids and then let these folks rule. It's something that we need to digest. It's something that sociologists need to examine and take a look at. Nevertheless, what I did notice, and shout out to Dusty Nuts, he said, touch some nerves with that one. HR directors, security guards, executive assistants being guard dogs of white supremacy. That's true. I mean, it is what it is. We looking at it as, I'm not the only black man saying, I'm simply commenting on it. Some of you may be offended by that, but look at the last 55 years here in the United States. Look at how black women abandon the black family the first opportunity that they get. White folks offered them affirmative action, welfare, a few BS jobs, some crappy scholarships. And, you know, they basically said, hell with you, black man. I'm strong, independent, and don't need a man. Hell with the 250 years that 300 years that we had in this country before, where we stuck together. No, right? So at this point, fellas, you have to realize replacing them, replacing that flawed, disloyal leadership is the only thing that is going to salvage the black community. Okay, it's the only thing. Now, the thing is, fellas, I'm gonna tell you guys, it's our fault. It's our fault as black men. Maybe not your fault. Maybe not your fault specifically, because many of you guys are young, but it's our fault as black men because the men that came before us didn't put these women in their place. They didn't check them. They didn't say, hey, you're not going to replace me or this family with those government benefits. You're not going to accept the trick that the government has to offer. This same government been playing tricks on folks since they got here. Hell, the white government plays tricks on white people, much less Indians, black folks, Asians, and whoever else, right? So, you know, we have to begin to recognize that it was our fault. Now, look where we are, you know, look where we are now. So at this point, fellas, there's no more you sitting back and playing defense, you know, waiting to see what happens. You guys need to go out there and start taking positions of power. You can't just stay on defense, wait to see what happens and respond, right? It's time to give the defense a rest, take the defense off the field, stop being reactive, start being proactive. We need to put our offense on the field, right? We need to run no huddles, and we need to wear their ass out for like the next 10 to 15 years. And don't give them an opportunity to substitute or come up with any other new talking points and whatnot. We're going offense all the way. If there's a position of power that you can take, I don't care if it's trash man, I don't care if it's garbage collector. As you guys see, I started off with some people offered me positions. I took them, even in a volunteer manner. I'm not getting paid anything. I'm doing it because it's a position of power, and it'll be there. It'll be something that will help me help black men, help men in general, but specifically help black men and black boys, because that's what I'm interested in. Making sure the boys that come up behind us don't have the burden that we have. All right. If you truly love yourself, if you love being a black man, if you appreciate your brothers and you want to see us do better, then it's incumbent upon you not to do what our ancestors did and let this stuff slide. Now, some things you guys don't know about me is that I'm an avid reader of these two books. Now, this one you all may notice, this is the Holy Bible, But here's another one. This is the Holy Quran, and I suggest you get both of these. And I think that there's wisdom in those books that you should, when read together, it helps you understand a lot of things. Now, talking about the Holy Bible and Christianity, and both of these are Abrahamic books. Okay, these are all Abrahamic books. These are all books. And if you look at the word, Allah, right, or Elohim, right? Jesus spoke Aramaic. Look up Aramaic and look up the word for God in Aramaic, right? And it's basically a play on Allah, okay? It's El Allah, okay? It's basically, it says God. So when the Muslims say Allah, they're simply saying God. When you say God, you're saying God in English. They're saying God in the language that Jesus spoke. So just think about that, all right? So don't run from your Muslim brothers. Don't run from your Jewish or Hebrew brothers. Don't run away from them, okay? These are all children of Abraham. But nevertheless, I don't want to go too deep into that. I just want to point out the fact that there's wisdom. Look at how God created Eve, right? He created her exclusively for Adam. She was supposed to be Adam's helper, helpmate, right? Look up those two words, right? And for you black men who are not properly motivated, you have to ask yourself this. When you ask yourself, is it time to take power away from black women? Ask yourself, as a black man, has the black woman been helpful? Has she been a good helpmate to black men in America? Now compare her to the women of other races. Has the Hispanic woman been a helpmate to the Hispanic man? What about the Asian man? We know that the white woman has been a helpmate to the white man, right? She wanted feminism, but that's because she wanted some of the things that her white man had taken during his dominance over the world over the past 500 years. What she didn't do is say, well, I'm better than you. I'm going to replace you. No, she just wanted some of his things. Whereas the black woman took that same feminist rhetoric and said, oh no, I'm better than you. I don't need you. The white woman said, no, I need my man. I just want some of his things. The Hispanic woman took what the government had to offer, but her culture kept her in place and she still kept her family intact. Same thing goes for the Asian women. Asian women date out more than black men, but you don't hear them belittling and disrespecting their Asian fathers and uncles and brothers. So when you compare yourself, when you compare what the black woman has done in the United States, you'll see where I'm coming from. I think you guys will understand clearly the position that I'm coming from. The sisters need to be replaced because they're no longer acting like our sister. Okay. When you look at black American women, you'll see they're the only ones that have constantly betrayed their men, their sons, their fathers, regardless of whether the man is rich or poor or nice or mean. This is what we're dealing with. On another note, when I look at the Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him, there was a discussion that he was having. And it generally, and I'm paraphrasing, and shout out to all my Muslim brothers here. I want to say this, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I'll cite you the quotations, but any man who allows a woman to rule over him will be destroyed. Now, I'm paraphrasing that. Where'd that come from? Al-Bukhari reported, and I did some research on this, but Al-Bukhari reported that Abu Bakr narrated that when news reached the Prophet, peace be unto him, that the Persians had made Khosras, who was the daughter of Buran, their queen, he said, never will such a people succeed who make a woman their ruler. And so in his great wisdom, the great prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him, recognized that it is a man's job to lead. Okay, it is a man's job to be in charge. And you brothers, you black men should not fall away from that. We're going to take a quick quick break. I'm going to open up the chat room. I'd love to hear what you brothers have to say about this conversation. If you got a problem with what I'm saying, cool. Come on in. You know, let's talk about it. But other than that, we will be right back.
And we talk about the hottest Colombian chick you see know to bow down to her brother, her dad, her nephew, any male. She knows better than treat that man like that. She knows better not to don't bring him a plate if you want to. But then American men who they already know are desensitized to beauty, you come over there and you treat her like she goddess number one, and the Colombian man looking at you like, what are you doing? She's just another woman. All this beauty, we grew up with this beauty. This is nothing new to us.
You need to learn Spanish and you need to learn the culture. True. Even if you're dating a black woman who is in South America, because if you understand the language, then that'll give you the keys to the culture and you can unlock that. And if you can unlock that, then you can hold her to her cultural norms. Because if you can't hold that woman that you're dating who is feminine and beautiful and all that stuff to her cultural requirements, she's gonna be out of pocket in 10 years. Absolutely. And you might as well have married an American woman.
Even sooner, Dennis. I've seen so many videos, and many of us have seen videos that have gone on World Star where Dominican women or women in South America have been so disrespectful and throwing things and treating American men in a way they would not dare treat a local. They would not dare put their hands on a local man that's driving a taxi or even selling mangoes on the side of the road. Wouldn't treat that man like that because they know better. They were raised better. But as soon as American man come over, there's always a viral video of a brother, either something happened to him or a white dude, something happened to him, based off the fact that that they know that we were not raised but on the same manly expectations and standards that the men that they were raised around were raised on, and B, they know that we are beauty minded. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. They know that American men ain't used to being around this type of beauty, so they take advantage of it. They talk to you crazy and reckless at times, and I see these guys but let a Colombian woman with the exact same looks, exact same beauty, say that to a Colombian man. She knows she either gonna get her head knocked off or the relationship is gonna be over. And we talk about the hottest Colombian chick you see know to bow down to her brother, her dad, her nephew, any male. She knows better than treat that man like that. She knows better not to don't bring him a plate if you want to. But then American men who they already know are desensitized to beauty, you come over there and you treat her like she goddess number one, and the Colombian man looking at you like, what are you doing? She's just another woman. All this beauty, we grew up with this beauty. This is nothing new to us. Yeah. Men in other countries aren't beauty minded as much as American men are. And that's another problem that we have when we use our passport.
What you're saying, brother, is we're willing to compromise our masculinity for the sake of having a beautiful woman. We sacrifice our masculinity and what we'll stand for a beautiful woman. Now, the crazy thing is American women know that too. And that's why they treat American men so bad. All right. Big shout out to my man who came through, bro. Look, JJ Diesel Cowboy Monk. I see you down there. I need everybody who wants to come into the chat room. You got a cam up. We don't do cowards on this page. You can't show yourself as a man, you don't deserve to speak. I despise cowards. I despise people who hide their faces and say wild stuff. No, you got to cam up if you want to come up in here. That's how that goes. So if you want to come in, you got to cam up. That's how it works. But either way, man, shout out to my two guys, JJ Diesel, Cowboy Monk, and Vintage Negro. Good to have you guys here, man. Brother JJ, I talked about that word. You understand? And so the thing is, yeah. And the thing is, I feel as though, and big shout out to Big Boss Real Talk. P Money, you gotta cam up, bro. You gotta stay cammed up. You can't hide. You gotta stay cammed up. So what are your thoughts, man, on my conversation, sir?
Give me 1 second. I gotta
well, there's some things that I want to say eventually, even if the person find out it's too late. They found out too late about true some stuff in there where if you read Deuteronomy 28, and if you read these curses and you look at our people and see what they go through, then you go back to the Atlantic slave trade, then you go back to other things. Some of it might seem far-fetched, but I don't think so no more. Because if you got to believe one part of the Bible and you see all these signs I don't doubt none of it anymore. They saying they took book sides up, but from what I read and I still need to read, I seen it to be true, and I've been convicted, and I've been in hardened, what you call edified just by reading, and people sharing with me that's edifying also.
All right,
And
cool,
it's
bro. I
strong
appreciate that.
conviction, and you
Let's get
gotta
my
have a
man
weak
Vintage
mind if you
Negro in
got
here.
some
Young
truth
brother
and you
Vintage, young
cannot
brother
keep it.
Vintage Negro. JJ, I'm gonna get Vintage Negro in here right quick. Vintage Negro, man. So as a young man, I'm trying to explain to you brothers that you cannot just sit back by and be passive and allow women just to be the leaders. Okay, because typically women take leadership roles when there's no man to take the leadership roles. And that's kind of what we've gotten into. We've been too cool, we've been too laid back. You know, we've let them take the forefront, and it's not a good look for any of us as black men. So what are your thoughts on this conversation? I hope something struck a nerve. Give me your feedback, young brother.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We do need to take leadership positions. We do need to take leadership. Those who want to save this community and make it better, the black men really have no choice but to be in a leadership role, but because like you were saying before, if black women got into leadership positions because they went through all the crap that men go through, that's one thing. That's different.
Yeah.
Then maybe we wouldn't be so messed up. But they were really given the leadership position by other groups of men and by black men themselves.
You see, here's my challenge to you. Here's my challenge. How can another man walk into your house and tell you that your woman is now in charge of you without you doing something about it? This is not slavery times we're talking about. This is a 1950. At some point, fellas, you're supposed to be able to lay it all out on the line and say, F that. They tried that with the Hispanic man. He didn't go for it. You see what I mean? They knew they tried it. They tried with the white man all the time. You see them trying to take that white man's guns away from him, and you see what he does when you try to take his authority, his God-given right. Look, you can be mad at white men all you want, but they have dominated the world for the past 500 years. As a tiny minority from an obscure part of the world where they're not even and I'm talking about white people, they're not even adapted to the habitat that the world has. The rest of the world is hot and brown, and they have dominated the world because they refuse to be dominated. You can learn some lessons. Even the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said they're smart. You could learn a lot from them. But see, we're so busy being victims. The white man did this to us. The white man did that to us. Well, what about the Arab man that's been fighting with him for 52,000 years? You see what I'm saying? He still hasn't dominated him. You see what I'm saying? So we got to stop that. We got to stand up and be men and take the role of leadership by the horns. Just think about that for a minute, brother. I just want you to think about that. I want to get P Money Patrick Blackrock in here. Brother, I see you got your smoking robe on. Let's talk to him about his smoking robe. Brother, welcome to the Bronx.
Thank you, Dennis.
Hope he didn't interrupt you, but what?
No, I was about to go to sleep because I like to sleep in a little early and wake up early.
Yeah,
get my day started. So when I saw your live stream, and you gave the opportunity for a guy like me to jump in, I'm like, I might as well.
Please, brother.
Thank you so much. I'm originally from Nigeria, West Africa, and you've seen a lot of these ideas like Western femininity creeping into our culture, and it's completely different from the females that I grew up with back in Nigeria right now. That this mindset is, it's just infused going back, and because usually when guys like me come to the US, when we start getting to our early 30s, that's when we start going back home, start getting married and bring the wife here or have the family back there and just travel back and forth. Like my dad did. My dad had us in Nigeria. He just came to the United States, run his business, was running McDonald's franchises, go back home, had his family there. But today, it is like a complete mess.
So, brother, here's the thing, and I'm glad you're here because What are you all doing to fight? You see what empowering these lovely ladies has done over here for us as black men. Like, what do you see the trap? Like, what are you doing as a Nigerian man? How are you informing both black men and black women in Nigeria to fight against this westernization? What are y'all doing to fight against it?
That's a great question, because that is not coming up in conversation. You know, we as men, sometimes we don't take notice of what's going on till it's almost too late.
Right.
We are so busy playing our roles in being a great provider and trying to provide, trying to protect.
Yeah.
We don't see how things are changing around us till it's almost too late. So right now, the conversation is coming up more and more. And now for my tribe, which is the Igbos, we start to have that conversation amongst ourselves, amongst men. Hey, a lot of this stuff, we need to put an end to it. This influence, some of our writers and how we are copying some of the Western stuff, like we need to put an end to. We need to speak up and call out certain things in our culture that is being copied from the West, and mainly the United States and the United Kingdom. So now we are having that conversation. We need to start speaking up in things like, you see certain ideas start to creep in.
Let me give you guys some suggestions, because I want y'all to you got to monitor your movies. You got to monitor your music. You got to, if you have radio stations that play Americanized music, monitor that. That's not allowed here. The movies. I know the Nigerian has a big movie, because I look on Netflix. You got your own. Yeah. What do they call it?
Nollywood.
Yeah, they got Nollywood is deep. If you there's a code, if you push Netflix, you can see all the movies coming out of Nigeria, and I've been watching a lot of them over the past month or two. But you got to keep Western culture away from the minds of your women. Keep those teachers, keep that rainbow flag coalition stuff out of your books. You understand?
That's the big one. That's the big one they be pushing. And if you monitor what's been going on with the African Union, and how for some reason they keep always pushing this idea on African presidents to accept and decriminalize homosexuality. Right. And you've seen a lot of presidents speak up against it. The president of Liberia, President Johnson. You've seen the current president of Kenya speaking up against it. Please respect our culture, respect our customs. Well, as we respect yours.
You got to force them. You got to tell them no. Like, you got to know how to talk to white people, especially white politicians. Tell them no, fuck you. We don't want that shit. Keep it. And then mean it. Now, you're going to be called dictators and all that sort of stuff, but it doesn't matter, okay? Because at some point they'll go somewhere else and pick on someone else.
Always.
Yeah, you gotta. I mean, the thing that I would hate the most, we got brothers called passport bros. They're traveling overseas to find wives. I tell them all the time, my preference is for them to marry women of African descent, whether it be a woman from Nigeria, Ghana, Togo, Benin, wherever she may be from, South America, Afro-Caribbean, Afro-Latina, West Indian. That's my preference for them. It's for them to marry women of African descent. But what's the purpose of sending them to get women of African descent, and then those women are feminine? They got the feminism thing touched on them too. It serves no purpose. So, I'm against that.
I think another, sorry to cut you off, I think another reason why it's like creeping in Nigeria more, and you see this in other countries too, is because we are primarily English speaking. I think this mentality.
I'm going to tell you why. Because you have money. See, feminism is a first world problem, because when women have access to money and resources, they got a lot of men around there with money. That means it's a lot of simps who are willing to pay women to be with them. So they don't really need a man. When I say need, they don't need you to fight lions and bears and tigers. They don't need you to pay their bills and whatnot. They do, but they don't. And so it's not just English, it's feminism. When women actually, when the environment requires that a woman actually needs a man for her protection and her provision, then feminism can't creep in. That's why we have some Philippines. Feminism hadn't really crept in there because they still need men over there. Nigeria, you got all that oil money. You got all those brilliant people. I know because I see them in colleges over here. I see them doing business. You got all that going on. And for you black men who don't realize, many of our ancestors come from that part, that I'm gonna say that gut right there of Africa, Togo, Benin, Ghana,
West
Nigeria.
Africa.
That's where we're from. A lot of y'all think we're not East African. For the most part, we are West African people, which is actually, if you look into the DNA, and the first genome of a man originates in West. So in other words, the first man was a West African man. We can all trace our roots back to the first woman was an East African woman from down there in the belly of Africa on the east. I find it interesting. But thank you so much, P Money. We'll get back to you in a minute. Black Samurai, and we got a couple other people. Gerald, aka G-Man. Marquise, you gotta cam up, bro. You can't run and hide. You got to stay cammed up. Black Samurai, what are your thoughts on this conversation, brother?
Hit that, right on the head with the stem from leadership. Me personally, I didn't see any black people going up to black men in suits professionally. I only seen them in church. So I was in my 30s. So I started working my professional career as an accountant, and then secondly, we have to lead with our wallet, not like sense, but we have to take control and power over our spending habits, over our we invest in. That's power. Money talks in the white man's world. You can say anything you want.
Well, money talks in everybody's world, bro. I mean, like, here's the thing. Let's not put money and good education and well-spokenness on white people. Let's not give them that much credit. That's a universal. Look at the richest man who ever existed in this world. Mansa Musa. But go ahead.
But check this out, Uncle D. Like, to me, I don't put it all on them because I in the hood, I grew around pro-black, beautiful. I grew up a lot of Black Panthers molded me growing up. They raised me, and how I was raised. Like, you have to raise where you come from. Like, I think a lot of like this younger generation, and that we don't look back in our past and take that seriously. They just look at the current. And I think if they take a look at that and then focus on the leadership, I think we could take, our community back. We could take our families back. But half of that comes from the female side. The females got to.
I want to add something else to that because you brought up. We could take the roles of leadership back, but are we ready to be leaders? See, that's the thing I want to talk to you guys about. I want you to be leaders, but you got to prepare to be leaders. You got to be willing to sacrifice. You got to have your morality up tight, because who wants to follow some immoral leader? You see what I mean? Right. And so the challenge, fellas, is on you. We slipped up, but not us, not you guys, not us. We're young, but for the most part, we got lazy and we let the women live. We let the women do what they wanted to do, and you see what happened. You see what they did. Marquise Gilmore, I'm just doing a round first. Marquise Gilmore, welcome to the conversation, sir. We're talking about leadership. I want you black men to step up and take on the roles of leadership.
Thank you. Can you hear me, my brother?
Yes, sir, Mr. Gilmore. Please add to the conversation. What would you like to add?
Well, let's talk about disabled brothers who trying to make things happen. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm a blind brother, and I had to go to school for the blind to learn tech again, just so I can conversate with you gentlemen. Y'all think y'all leaving us behind too? Ain't that something? Y'all got to think about.
I hope that if we have black men who have, because we got a lot of veterans that follow this page too. Okay. And some of them have PTSD. Some of them have other things that are difficult. But here's the thing I want you guys to understand, and this kind of goes back off of what Black Samurai said. You can be from the hood and be a great leader. Some of the best leaders I've seen have been men who run underground enterprises, so to speak. The leader, that's why we always look at some of these mafia leaders and we say, man, that guy could have been a great CEO of a company or something somewhere, but, he just chose to go down the wrong path. So, it's not that we're leaving anybody behind, but the thing is, leadership, you'll know the leaders when they step up. They're concerned about others. They plan well, they strategize, they take responsibility. And more importantly, a good leader is, of course, one who shows you success. Let's get my man Gerald, aka G-Man, in here. Gerald, please introduce yourself. Welcome to the broadcast. What would you like to add, sir?
How you doing, Mr. Spurling? I would call you uncle, but I'm older than you. I'm part of I'm part of the baby boomers, and I want to say, Marquise, it's an honor to talk to you, brother. I would never guess that you was disabled with your eyesight, but I would say this: just wait on these meth beds to come. Trust me, things are coming. Now, the one reason why I came up was because you said something to the African brother about movies. A lot of people keep forgetting about those baby boomers. We went straight from Martin Luther King, which I still don't like because of how we transferred the wealth, and Malcolm X to straight Superfly, and the other movie. So we've been on this track.
Give them that history. They don't know about the Coke spoons and Superfly like that. They went. What the brother is telling y'all, we went from right on fight to power. They said we got to get COINTELPRO. The CIA said we got to fill these Negroes' heads up with foolishness. So we're gonna flood the coke. We're gonna flood the hood with cocaine with the help of the Italian mafia,
which was
we're gonna use that to fund our secret wars over here. So we're gonna do something with the money. On top of that, we're gonna finance all these what they call black exploitation films. Superfly was a story about this black man who had a Coke spoon around his neck, and that movie came in and made it influenced so many black men. They said, "Hell with this black power stuff. I want to be cool. F the struggle. I want to be cool like this pimp / drug user, drug dealer." That's what he's telling you. But and see, they don't realize how much of an effect it had. Imagine fellas saying Boys in the Hood. Name the rest of them. New Jack City. What's that other one with old buddy out of Compton? Old Dog. What was his name? The movie with Old Dog in it. He's like, y'all know what I'm talking about. I know you know. Imagine rolling all those gang bang bang movies up into one, and that come out and influence everybody. That's what the brother saw, and that meant a lot. Shout out to Dusty Nuts. But please continue, Gerald. Go ahead and continue, Gerald.
And see, what they done is they portrayed this image globally, and it wasn't us. Then you turn around, we came into the hip hop era where there was Public Enemy. Then they unraveled that movement with the hip hop from the West Coast, killing this, take it, and it's all been controlled. So basically, if we want to go back to the leadership, I gotta at least say this about Ice Cube. He only said one thing to me that made sense. He said, "I wish that I could take my culture, build a wall up, keep you all out of our business, and watch what happens." See, this is what they're afraid of. They would prefer all of us on this panel wearing a dress instead of standing up, being who we were. Remember, they told you about Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa, Oklahoma was the last black settlement. They never tell you about Asheville, North Carolina. They never tell you about the underground that was coming from California to Tulsa, Oklahoma, where
don't forget Brownsville, Chicago too.
Boom. See what I'm saying? And Houston, Texas. Yeah, they had a black township too. So once you do this, once you do the mathematics, it all equals up to money, do, re, mi. And the one way they stop that money, do, re, mi, guess who they put in charge? Now, my thing is, now I got to call you Uncle D. You said something so strong the other night. Another reason why I called. You said, this is not our war. They should never have opened up their mouths because now you got these other cultures clapping back. Another thing, they got the audacity. I got to get this out. They have the audacity to label us next to child. You know what I'm saying? The child P word.
Yeah.
But you totally forgot to talk about Epstein, Weinstein, and anybody's thing.
Yeah.
So you basically, it might be best you just leave us alone and let us go. Because if you keep waking us up, you're not going to like when Pookie and Ray Way wake up and realize the brothers was telling the truth all the time.
Yeah.
And mama, you my enemy.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We're going to come right back with my man, Only Best.
Look, if you want to date someone from the low quality crusade, by all means do it. Just be quiet about it. You do not have to bring up black women to date any of these low quality kings. If you want these patchy beard pirates, by all means have them. Just shut the fuck up about it. You sound like the white girls who flex on us about taking our Filipino men. You know, the Pinoy men we don't fucking want. But look, if you're on a quest for a green card, all power to you. You and any other cousin that wants these Viagra villains can live happily ever after. Just keep black women's names out your mouth.
Girl, we didn't even start this shit. We got insulted first. Us, your fellow Filipinas. Oh no, you're westernized. We do not claim you. And what were you talking about? The Filipino men that we don't want. All of my ex-boyfriends are Filipinos. My ex-husband is a Filipino. And white women, they did not even brag that they got our Filipino men. Are you on drugs? And not all Filipinos want to have a green card. Me personally, no, I want a black card. A BBC. I need to clown you because no one should take you seriously besides those, American black women who's on your side. So, fuck this. I need to buy props for this. I don't even know how to put this shit on. Yeah. Spoon and fork, baby. Oh no, I need to remove this shit. This is the first time that I wore this shit, so no, not for me.
Shout out to John, man. Thank you so much, John.
Oh my God.
Let me tell you something, man. Like, I support. Shout out to John. I support anybody who stands up for people like that. You know what I'm saying? I support anybody who stands up for her people like that. Strong, man. You got to respect that, man. Big shout out to my man Dusty Nuts. He said 500 like bonus in the passport. 5 passport world. Hey, thank you so much, bro. I appreciate that. Shout out to my man. Thank you so much, Dusty Nuts. We're gonna keep pushing. Let's see who else we got up in here. Yeah, that was Joan is real. Shout out to Joan. I mean, it is what it is, man. You can't go talking about folks and then think they're not gonna clap back. My man, Only Best. Always good to have you here, brother. Man, what thoughtful comments do you have to share with us about leadership? Like, I want black men to aggressively search out leadership positions. 2 people called me up last week, send me an email. Hey, we'd like you to join this pack. Oh, what do y'all do? Oh, we're trying to help out black American people here in Texas. We're trying to be, administer programs. Okay, cool. All right. What about, I got another email. Yeah, brother, we're trying to change the laws in Maryland. I don't even think I passed. I think I passed through Maryland once. You see what I'm saying? But the fact that they're trying to make it illegal for them to take your driver's license if you back on your child support, I'm with that, because I know how that affects it affects black men, but
affects men,
all men. Okay, and the other one, the big one, paternity fraud. You understand what I'm saying? That's something that affects all men. Of course, I'm gonna be down with that, man. You see what I'm saying? But that's leadership. If you gonna knock on my door, yeah, I'm with on that, and I want each one of you men to take leadership roles, but expect and prepare for it to be difficult. You're not gonna be able to be lazy. You're gonna have to be consistent. You're gonna have to be tough-minded. You're gonna have some principles. You're gonna have some morality, and you have to stand on that. My man, Only the Best, man. Welcome to the broadcast. What are your thoughts?
Always great to be here.
GCLA. Go ahead.
My thoughts on the situation are, I think,
you get a haircut, bro. I see the dreads is kicking, boy. You got to lean it. What you doing?
it's wrapped up.
You got a job or something, bro? What happened? You got your job? Anyway, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
So the best way I could say is for leadership, especially in the black community, it's about finding mutual compatriots who believe in your vision.
Right.
I'm of the motto of I eat, you eat. A lot of the things I see in the black community is they always expect something for free, or they always expect you to do it for the culture. What they don't realize is everyone needs to eat. Everyone needs to put food on their table. So you have to be upfront with what you get out of the deal and what I get out of the deal.
Yeah.
So when it comes to
leadership, almost like we got like a hookup culture. Like you see your boy working at the club, you got to get in free. Not that you don't have that $5 to get in the club. It's just that you want it hooked up free. What is that about? Why do we get so common with each other? You see what I mean? We get too common with each other. But I know just what you mean. Go ahead, brother. We need more formality is kind of what I'm saying, but go ahead, only the best.
I think these spaces are starting to bring in, or at least shift the culture to where we understand that in order for things to grow, money has to be passed around. It can't just be, I give my homie a kickback here, he gives me a kickback here. That there has to be upfront a realization that in order for us to continue to grow, money has to be passed around. And on that point of money, you were speaking on the Quran and the Bible earlier in the show. Yes. And one thing I've observed in America is people believe America doesn't have a religion, and I don't agree. The religion of America is money.
Praise God.
Above all, America respects more than anything money. I've been raised in the church a majority of my life, and the deacon and the pastor were the closest to God. The closest to God in America are billionaires and millionaires. They're the ones we respect the most. When Trump said he could shoot someone in the face and no one would care, he was right. Because he has the most money, he has the most say-so, or he's the closest one to the most money. Whenever people have money, that's the ones whose opinions are validated. That's the ones whose opinions are respected. America itself is a money-making machine. It will do whatever it can to gain money. So it will destroy its own family, its own people. They're willing to sell you poison as long as it's going to raise those margins. We're seeing it right now in Ohio. That train derailment, how many people are going to have cancer and other ailments years from now just to save a couple bucks? That is the religion of this country. And the sooner people realize it, the sooner they can take advantage of that system.
I agree with that. And I tell you guys all the time, America's a machine. It's not something you want to come cuddle up with. You come here, you make as much money as you can, and you do what my man P Money's daddy did. You make your money here, you go back home to have your family and your culture. That's what a lot of black men are saying. Hey, I can't really find a good culturally traditional wife here. I need to go somewhere else where I can find myself a good wife. And it works out.
Perfect example.
Big shout out to DCLA. He says California had Blacktown Allensworth early in the 1900s. The founder, Cornell Allensworth, was killed in an accident. Mr. 43TX 1999. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. One thing you will find out, though, when you start doing research on lynchings, you will find out that a lot of those men and women who were lynched were business competitors, business owners who competed with white folks for money. And so they would find out, they would make up a reason to lynch them so they can get rid of a business competitor. Keep that in mind. So it wasn't just we didn't like Negroes. It was about money. And so for all you can look at it, let me finish, please, guys. Don't interrupt. So a lot of the situations where you see black men who are prominent and rich being attacked, like your Yeet, Kanye, name it, Jay-Z's ass. He's been quiet, but let me finish. They've been gunning from him. My man Russell Simmons, he had to move to Thailand. You see what I mean? Because it's a lot of jealousy and envy going on. They attack the successful. Pookie and Ray Ray is not really a threat. They low-level threats. They put their asses in jail when they get out of line. But notice how Pookie and Ray Ray got to commit all kind of crimes before they end up getting life. Notice that. But one black man evades taxes. We got a billionaire black man here in the United States. They were trying to lock him up. You see what I'm saying? I forget the brother's name. I should remember.
Robert Smith.
Yeah, look at that. Robert Smith, Bill Cosby. So y'all keep that in mind. That's why I tell you, brothers, get your money and leave. You're not a stolen people on a stolen land will never have peace. Find you somewhere else to go. My man King Barracuda, always good to have you here, brother. What would you like to add to the conversation?
Appreciate you. Thank you for having me here, and only the best. Great job. I was getting to that, you know. And what you said then, Spurling, basically, we want to make sure the machine is making money when we come together and keep coming together more like this, right? And also, compliments what Only the Best said. Make sure there's like a symbiosis. I'm benefiting, you're benefiting. We're up front. I know you know what I'm getting and what you're getting, and we support each other, right? We got to find a way to spread the network more, spread the support more, and the brotherly love more, the appreciation of each other, and showing that it is profitable for us to be the leaders and stronger together. Now, once the shame's gonna come, we know where a lot of it's gonna come. Okay, you're homosexual, you brothers all together. Well, guess what? I'll say this: You only can go, like Kevin said, you only can call a straight man homosexual and get away with it in this country. So what's say if we are? Then hold on. So you're shaming the opposite community.
They're gonna attack you.
Go ahead.
Well, but they're gonna attack you from all different sorts of angles. Let me give you an example of what you're talking about. We know what we are, right? Everybody agrees that the religion of this country is making money, right? We can all agree on that. So my thing is, if you want to begin to take power away from these lovely ladies, obviously they keep them in power because that benefits the government. Well, what about if we began to say, well, hey, let's we got an idea for you. Let's look at the situation where we talk about child support, right? We understand that the states individually, oftentimes the child support they help recover helps to fund the Attorney General's office of these states. In other words, Title 4D of the Social Security Administrative Code says that they get 66% of what they recover can go towards paying the funds, or 66% of the money expended gets reimbursed from the federal government. So that's more money for their coffers. So what if we say, well, okay, well, we'll give you 60, there should be an amendment to Title 44D. The 66% of what you recover from paternity fraud also goes back to the government. So we're going to help you make money too. And does the government really care if it's collecting it from men or women? See, those are the creative ideas. That's what I'm going to say when I get in front of the Maryland legislator. That's what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to put tangible ideas how the government can make more money. If you're going to come after us, I want you to come after them too, and that'll neutralize it. Okay? So just think about that. Let me get my man Al. Well, let me see. Terrence, please unmute yourself. What would you like to add to the conversation, sir? Terrence, please unmute yourself. I think Terrence froze. Alvin, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
What would you like to add? Always good to have you in here. Big shout out to y'all. Make sure y'all check out his after streams. Some of them after streams be better than the main stream. I be telling them all over there like, man, look at that. That's what y'all interesting idea.
You are welcome to come up and hang out anytime, bro. I swear to God.
Oh man, so leadership, man. Like, let me tell you something about Alvin. Alvin didn't wait for me to reach out to nobody. Y'all know Alvin hit me up,
yes, sir,
and say, hey man, I can hook you up with some of these different videos you got. He reached up and he snatched a role for himself. Now, let me give you an example. One of my mentors, his name is Judge Wilfred Carter. Those of you guys who are from South Louisiana, Calcasieu Parish, you might know him. I law clerked for him when I was like 23, 24 years old. And I oftentimes would sit up and ask all these old, very successful men, white and black, and I work with some old ass men. This is 2000, so the old dudes were still around. You know what I'm saying? The ones born in the 1930s. And, they'd seen a lot. Old white dudes, Judge Painter, he was old and white. And I'm talking about nowhere Louisiana. So some of them might have had some slaves and some Klan hoods in the closet. But the bottom line is I went there to work, learn, whatever. So, I stripped that down and I just wanted to learn the leadership. I wanted to learn. Imagine my California ass out there in goddamn Lake Charles, Louisiana. But the bottom line is Judge Carter said, look, if you want to be powerful, you got to attach yourself to somebody powerful. You got to figure out what it is they need, and then go ahead and attach and give them what they need. Volunteer your help. The best way to get yourself in the door is volunteer and don't ask for shit. If you want to be, I got some really rich friends. I got a buddy who makes $1 million a month. I don't ask him for shit. He gives me everything I want. He was the one that introduced me to going to Columbia. Didn't ask him for shit. You see what I'm saying? When you sit next to the people who have power and you can learn from them. If you up there, if you don't know, you see what I'm saying? If you're fortunate enough to have a father or uncle who has a powerful place, great. But if not, you go and give help to people who are in a powerful position, who have prominence. You do that. I'm doing the same thing with my fiance. There's a certain retired judge here in Houston. She has tea every month. I send my fiance over there. She said, can I bring a friend? Fuck no, you don't bring a friend. You hook yourself up first. That's like being in the club and some dude offer to buy you drinks and you say, can you buy my girls drinks? No, you hook yourself up first. You get yourself in. and then you hook up your kid. You see what I'm saying? I'm giving you the plug. Why would you give some stranger the plug? You see what I mean? So they can outshine you. See, this is how you court power. You stand next to power, and often what will happen is people who are in power is like, oh yeah, that's such a, come on, yeah, here, I got a committee for you. I want you to join. Next thing you know, man, you running shit, you in charge, 20 years has gone by, that person is long gone, you got their stamp of approval. You see what I'm saying? So think about that. It's an intelligent way to do things. And again, you are who you hang around, which is why I try to keep these conversations high level. And I don't want to talk to a bunch of women. Y'all realize that, because it's just, who gives a shit what they think when you're trying to court men into being powerful. But anyway, Alvin, I'm long-winded. Go ahead, brother. What would you like to say? Then we're gonna go to Yashir.
First of all, salute to you, salute to the chat, salute to the panel. I wanted to say first and foremost that I've met so many great men through your channel, and there's so many great men, and I want to be a shining example of Black men being able to work together. I've done hours and hours of content before your podcast, after, just on, just trying to throw things together, building that plane while we're flying it. So first of all, Black men can work together. We do all the time. That the narrative that we can't work together is bullshit. I want to say that first and foremost. As far as females are concerned, I don't consider them when I work at all. I realize I've come to the realization now that they'll often be opposition, so I treat them as such. So they're a non-factor at this point. If I have to work with them, then I work with them. If I don't, I don't. But I don't ever really consider them. And outside of that, man, people are guys are scared sometimes about as far as being leaders and stepping up into those roles and learning on the fly. They're afraid to fail. I think culturally, we haven't been allowed to fail. Kevin Samuel said it once, that we are the only group of men that aren't allowed to fail. We, for whatever reason, we just don't support each other and so on. But I think that we're learning how.
Well, let me give you a bit of advice, and I talk about this in my books. There are two people that take up leadership roles. There are two people that I find. You have people who are courageous, and they conquer their fear, because you can be afraid, but as long as you conquer your fear, you're courageous. That type of person, and crazy people. See, crazy people don't have sense enough to be afraid, and so they do wild shit, and you like that. Wow, how do you even do that? Crazy people. You see, I find that the best is to have a little bit of both. I am crazy. Anybody who has 6 rap albums and 2 TV shows and cusses like a goddamn sailor every night on the internet, and then during the daytime has a law practice, has got to be fucking crazy. Okay. So I want you guys to truly understand that I am not your best role model. I am fucking crazy. Don't do what I do. Don't do what I do. Okay.
Sometimes it's good to be a little bit crazy.
Yeah, but no, don't do what I do. I'm telling you now, do not do what I do. However, there are some attributes, there are some attributes, that you can take. If you want to be a rich, successful lawyer, do not fucking do what I do, because I don't know what the Lord just keeps on blessing me, and that's why I'm able to. I got people who they really take me seriously, calling me from the Maryland legislature, asking me to be on their pack. Like, nigga, do you not see what I say at night on the internet? They're like, yeah, we love, but see, that's genuinely me. I'm still the same dude I always been. But nevertheless, there are other ways to do it. But the most important thing, understand, it's okay to be a little crazy. It's okay to be a little zany. They're gonna be people around you to call you crazy. But that's because they're afraid. They're afraid to go out there and step out on a limb. But you guys have got to, it's do or die at this point. Okay, now I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna go to Yashir. The only reason I've been ragging on these plantation bros is because they've been attacking the passport bros. I have no problem with a Black man staying in this country, trying to save what's left of the Black community, trying to redeem it. I have no problem with that. But I also don't have a problem with Black men who want to travel overseas. All I tell you is this: I preach a freedom doctrine. You are free to come and go as you choose. Now, when you start fighting with each other and you start trying to oppress each other, I'm going to attack the side that's trying to oppress the other side. That's me making a judgment call. That's me making a morality call. But that's what I do. I typically side with the just over the unjust. And anybody trying to interfere with a black man's freedom in America, as much as we gone through, I'm gonna be on your ass. You see what I'm saying? Because you deserve an ass whooping for that, because we are free people. So that's my position. All right. So in other words, I don't really have a position other than I want black men to be free and know that the world is yours. And anybody who gets in the way of that is my adversary. That's it. You see what I'm saying? That's why it's hard for people to figure, well, he said this week and this, that. No. As long as you leaving black men and black boys alone and letting them be free and letting them live their life, we cool. But nevertheless, let's take a quick commercial. We're gonna come back with my man Yashir. Y'all make sure y'all hit I got a humorous one for y'all on this one, man. We'll be right back. The subject matter tonight, we'll be talking about, well, this is my pussycat right here. See this pussycat that I have right here? This is gonna be kind of the subject matter that we discuss. Okay, we're gonna talk about this pussycat and what this pussycat has been doing. Because see, it's easy to lie on pussycats, isn't it? Pussycats are sneaky. Aren't they sneaky? Aren't pussycats sneaky? They do stuff and nobody knows because they got these little soft little paws and they can tip around and they look so cute, right? And you don't really know what these pussies are doing. You just don't know. Okay, pussies do all kinds of stuff. They sneak out the house. They go eat the neighbor's food. Sometimes they come home with bats. Me, right? Pussies do all kinds of things. And so the thing about pussies is you got to keep an eye on them, because if you don't keep an eye on these pussies can get out of hand. Okay? And I think these pussies, and I'm talking about pussycats. I don't know what you all are talking about. Clean your filthy mouths up. We're talking about pussycats. Okay, and here's my pussycat right here. Say hi. What's up? All the bitches and the real niggas was cracking in this motherfucker, man. I keep a thug darkness. Yeah. Like I always say, baby. Roll with me. You never go home. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let this pussycat run free, and we'll see what it does. Maybe we'll revisit this pussycat later on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy as a motherfucker. I don't know what I do, man. I don't want to. None of y'all need to be like me. But anyway, man, that was a good laugh. I try to keep the levity in there. Yashir, brother. I hope I pronounced your name correct. Is it Yashir? I hope I can pronounce your name correctly, brother. Please unmute yourself. What would you like to add to the conversation?
First of all, it's honorable to be able to listen to you all. I've learned a lot. I didn't put the correlation of what Mr. Gerald put together with the movies that y'all were talking about.
You a young brother. That's why you young. You young.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All I know is nigga kill nigga. That's where I went up. At first it was sell drugs to make it into it, and now it's competition of who will sell the most drugs. And now it's we using the drugs that we selling. So, and I see how the correlation through music. I make music, so I see the correlation how the music.
Let me tell you. Let me say it like, first of all, big shout out to Big Boss Real Talk. Y'all make sure y'all go check his channel out. He said facts. Uncle D doesn't matter what doesn't matter what women think. First of all, they don't think that they only feel. Second of all, women need to know that men think and get our on our program and not the other way around. Big shout out to Big Boss Real Talk. Thank you so much. So here's the thing, fellas. Okay, and what I want you guys to understand is that initially the whole movie situation was black folks were a bunch of Sambos and coons, and they just portrayed us looking like idiots. And then they had that black exploitation time period where we were a bunch of pimps and whores and all that sort of stuff like that. Then that one movie with the Coke spoon came in called, and then we went from being pimps. Mind you, we're dealing with the people who have a weak culture. Okay. And when I say weak culture, easily influenced. We don't have a reinforcement of people coming over, driving in strong family values coming from, like, think about Hispanics, Italians. They always got people coming in from their home country reinforcing their traditions. And that's important because what it does is it allows for people who may have got out of pocket to come back in. You see what I'm saying? We don't have that. And that's why our culture is so weak. And that's why we're susceptible to what's on pop culture. That's a problem. Does that kind of clear it up for you? Yes, that's why we'll fall for anything. You see what I'm saying? People who that's the deal we have. Go ahead. What did that clarify it for you?
Yeah, it did. It did. I'm trying to figure how we can best make that change in our community. Like, I make sure to smile or say hello to black men. I know y'all know what I'm saying. You go to the corner store and you walk by another black man. In most cases, you don't say hello or you won't make eye contact. And so I'll try and do my best to make eye contact or to say hello. Hey man, it's a great day for you. Or open the door or be intentional in breaking the spell that wants to make us hate each other. And like the brother was saying earlier, we don't work together. Well, I don't know. I played a football team. All I've been doing all my life is working with black men from different hoods, different sets, different gangs.
There is that unspoken threat that always exists amongst black men. That's why Neely Fuller says what? Don't come together unless you're doing something constructive. You don't need to be going to clubs. You don't need to be going to parties. You see what I'm saying, man? Because we're not a healed people yet. We hate it. We hate ourselves. You see what I mean? We hate ourselves because we see images of black men on TV doing stupid stuff. Our mothers talk bad about us. The women in our family. Looking for the past 55 years what we've been dealing with. But anyway, we got a new guest in here. Passport Dude, welcome to the broadcast. I hear a little feedback coming in from somebody, man. Welcome to the broadcast, Passport Dude. What would you like to add to the conversation?
All right, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. Welcome to the broadcast.
Oh, thank you. I wanted to add something about, I remember listening to Kevin Samuels and how he would talk about what black men had overcome in their image to, overcome the stereotype of being like crackheads and gangbangers and all that stuff, and how they basically manned up. And he would like vehemently defend black men, and a lot of the women on his show would be like, "Oh, black men ain't shit, and they're crap," and he would be like, "No, this is the average, numbers and statistics for black men."
Right.
And it was very eye-opening for me because I didn't really grow up with any black people in my life.
Right.
And so like my first person that I encountered was a musician that was a guitar teacher that I went to. And, he would come to a place where we would learn music, and he would show up late and we'd be like, "What happened?" He'd be like, "Oh, I got pulled over by the police." And you're like, "Oh, what did you do? Did you run a stop sign or something?" He's like, "I didn't do anything. I was just black." And you're like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Yeah. And I had all this musical equipment in this van, and they just assumed that I was, like robbing a musical store."
All right. So here's the thing, Passport Dude. And I don't know if you're from the U.S. or Canada or where you from, but you got to understand for centuries now, the media, which is dominated by white people normally, and I know you got Irish, you got Italians, you got Jewish, you got all that. I get that, I understand that, but for the most part, when you try to keep one class of people oppressed, you got to have a reason for it. You can't just say, "Oh, we're all equal, but we're just going to keep this class of people oppressed." So they make up bullshit reasons why these people deserve to be treated horribly, and that feeds the population. And we always talk about the effect that white supremacy or racism has on black people, but we never talk about the psychosis and the games and the tricks it plays on white people. Think about it. You know this. You've been told that these group of people, and I don't know you personally, but you've been told these group of people are inferior to you, and then you see this guy pulling up in a Rolls Royce, a BMW with a big house and a beautiful life, and you're like, "Hold on, that goes against what I've been programmed to believe." And so what does that do to a person who's been programmed to believe they're better than this person, but ostensibly and objectively they're looking at all all the stuff that counts, and it's like, "Well, damn, this person's living a better life than me. So what does that say about me?" And I think what your friend was pointing out to you was that we are subject to the negative stereotypes. And what Kevin Samuels did was he came in with the numbers and he helped dispel those stereotypes. Remember, Passport Dude, and I don't know what your real name is. We just call you Passport Dude. We haven't had the microphone ever It's only now, since the rise of YouTube, that black men have been able to speak up for ourselves. Now, you would think that the lovely ladies who gave birth to us, who lay down with us, who have our children, would speak highly of us. But no, they took the opportunity over the past 55 years to go on places like Oprah Winfrey, Sally Jesse Raphael, and bash black men. Same thing on some of the movies, which is why a lot of white men and people who didn't grow up around black people have this perception of black men. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And so, with that as a precursor, what I wanted to add to the conversation was, there's this notion that these black men need to man up. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's fair. I really think, Kevin Samuels kind of put it forward. And when we're talking about like passport bros and passport dudes and people going to other countries, mm-hmm. because the women are unacceptable, it's not fair to put it back on these guys and say, you need to man up. You need to be leadership. Right. You need to be leaders. And I think that's what I really wanted to add is just that.
No, I hear you. And that's a fair point. But let me nuance that. Like I said before, there are men who want to leave. They're free to leave. But then there are also men who want to stay. Well, they're not going to be happy if they stay and they don't begin to, let me say this, move these women out of the positions of leadership. And that's what I'm talking about. In other words, we can't sit back and complain about how horrible these women are. And this is for all men. This is for all men in Western countries. You can't sit back and complain about how horrible women are if you're still willing to let them hold on to the reins of power. And you see where they're leading us. So you're going to have to man up and begin to literally, I don't want to say literally, but you're going to have to push them aside, fight them for the positions of power, and literally treat them like you would treat another man when it's time to compete for mayor, when it's time to compete for senator, dog catcher, when it's trying to figure out who's going to run the house. You got to really lay the law down. Manning up. I'm not telling them to man up and stay here. I'm telling those ones who want change, you're going to have to start dealing with these women in a way in which you would deal with other men when they're exhibiting poor leadership. Does that clarify it for you? Yeah,
that clarifies it. And I would add that if you're doing this for women so that you can be what the women want, that's a bad goal for men. I think that you should be doing it for yourself, and we shouldn't be putting it on men to man up to be what women want, but to do what you want in your life.
Well, I do it because men aren't happy right now. And if you look around the United States, look at the self-deletion rate, look at the drug use rate. Men aren't happy. They're not happy. And so if they want to have peace of mind and happiness, they're going to have to fall back in their natural position, and that's the leadership role. And look, I'm telling guys this, I don't want you to put them back in the kitchen. These women are not fit to be traditional housewives. I want you to treat them like the men that they say they are. If they want to be strong, independent, and don't need a man, treat them like the men. Fair across the board. You want to join the military? Well, you got to compete on that level. There shouldn't be two standards. You want to be a man, we're going to treat you like men, and then you'll fall in the position that you're supposed to be in. So I appreciate you. What else would you like to add before we get everybody else back in here?
I think that's it. Okay. Someone else can take over.
No, man, thank you so much, man. I appreciate your comments, and shout out to everybody who's listening. Thank you so much, Passport Dude. I'm going to bring the rest of these guys back in. Let me see here. We lost a few, but that's okay. Let me see who else. So the panel's open. Let me run another commercial, and we shall be right back. Y'all make sure y'all hit the #1 button. I appreciate y'all. I think we're having a good time. Are we enjoying ourselves? We doing good, fellas? We good? You bored? Y'all bored yet? Here's a hot one.
That being said, if I'm putting this together like a case, you sue. The easy target is the African corporations and the African countries. That's the easy target. Then you bring in individuals who are associated with the breeding farms, who owned it, who inherited that, the insurance companies. That's how you begin to bring in. But everybody needs to be brought in if we're looking at it like it's a lawsuit. And so I'm looking at it in a sterile, emotionalist, zero emotions involved in it. Who has the money? Who's culpable? So separate yourself from your emotions and let's move forward. You know, if you're really willing to, because see, I don't think in BGS you probably will be able to answer this more. I know that there's going to be pushback when people start saying, well, we're going to sue the country of Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, Congo, and anybody else in different places for their role in that, along with these European corporations who inherited the businesses, insurance, whatever, if it's possible, and they're going to push back. And my response would be, well, you know what? If you don't sue everybody involved, then the other people are going to say, well, you have not brought in a necessary party, so you can never be made whole. You can't talk to us about the cocaine that we bought if you don't talk to the people who actually harvested the cocaine, right, manufactured it, and then sold it to us. Right. We're all culpable.
Right. Welcome back to the broadcast. We haven't got Terrence in here. Terrence, how's your mic now? Can you hear us clearly? Terrence, your mic. Dusty Nuts. Shout out to Dusty Nuts. We can't hear you, Terrence. Anyway, fellas, the floor is open here. Alvin, what P Money? You guys been quiet. Only the best. What else, you guys? What are your thoughts? We're talking about leadership generally. So, what else are good places to learn leadership qualities if you didn't have a strong leader that you can follow in your life? What other places can, and what do you think will be required of leadership? Just talking to these black men now, what other, and I'm just throwing 2 or 3 different points out there. What other avenues, what other places should we begin to occupy so we can get control of the reins of power in the black community and in the nation? Go ahead.
I mean, I've held consistent that we need to invest in our attorney or lawyer class, big time, for as far as real estate is concerned. Finance, and then obviously there's the criminal law. But the reality is that less of us are getting locked up these days anyway. It's just a matter of our resources are being drained from us slowly but surely. So I think a concerted effort to focus on that class of black men first and foremost, I think, is like the first.
He froze up. Let me see. Okay, you froze up. Yeah. Well, you back now? Go ahead, brother.
No, I'm gonna go ahead and let somebody go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, and
I wanted to add on to that.
Let me say this too. So earlier, somebody came in and said there was a gentleman on some other channel talking bad about me and stuff. Look, let me tell you something. Look, I'm okay with that. You see what I mean? I'd much rather have these dudes on the internet talking crazy about me than out there begging for change or committing crimes. You see what I mean? What they're doing is entertainment. People are enjoying it. You see what I'm saying? Now, as long as they don't go to the point of defamation and slander and stuff like that, you got to understand when when you sitting on top of the mountain, people going to take shots at you. You see what I mean? Now, those who are worthy of me shooting back, I might shoot back. But if you just poor and broke, I'm not. I spoke about the one brother earlier. His name is Taz. His real name is Mr. Allen. And I've long since researched him. He too broke for me to attack. Like I prepared a lawsuit. I was going to sue him, but I'm like, this dude is broke. This dude ain't got no money. It's like, he's not even worth the $402 it costs to file a lawsuit, man. I'm going to just keep my money and let you keep talking. So shout out to the brother, but they welcome to talk, man. Let them talk. So don't feel offended for me like that. There got to be somebody of some sort of substance for me to want to respond back. A senator, one of these folks who occupy one of these mega churches, somebody like that. Not just some, not some poor guy trying to make a few dollars on the internet to pay his light bill. I'm not. Y'all want me to just, that's not worth even the comment for the most part. But anyway, man, go ahead. The floor is open, fellas.
Yeah,
we call Jesus in here today. We need to bring the Lord. Go ahead. Go ahead. P Money. What were you gonna say, P Money?
Yeah, to add to what you're already saying in terms of occupying positions of leadership, I think investing in guys in tech as well, because for so long now, we black men, we haven't been able to control our own images, whether it be black men in America or African men,
right,
or even the ones in the Caribbean, we haven't been able to control our image. Others have been able to control that image and dictate to the world who we are.
Right.
Not to, even with YouTube, the way the algorithm works, they promote certain things.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
suppress
you
others.
see, passport dude came in here. He said, "I ain't even know no black people." You see what I'm saying? So his only impression of black people is the foolishness that he's heard on the TV and the radio for the past 40, 50 years. He said it wasn't until Kevin Samuel started breaking those numbers down that he realized, man, you guys got a bad rap. You see how powerful this internet is? Yeah. You see, let me tell you something. Somebody said something earlier. I think it was you, Black Samurai. I don't walk around no goddamn suits all day. Hell, even when I was going to my law office every day, I went up there with like maybe a polo shirt and some jeans on. I put this sport coat on for you guys because I'm representing you. For a while, I used to have a tie on, but I figured that was too much because I'm basically, chilling with a big ass white chair. But I do this to help enhance and change the image of black men. I do this the way we speak to each other respectfully, even if we disagree. You see what I mean? This goes a long way to preserving your lives. This is going to make it easier for you to get that home loan. It's going to make it easier for you to get that business loan. It's going to make it more likely for you to survive that encounter with the police officer, us changing our images. You rarely ever hear about Asian folks getting shot and killed by the police. Why? Because they don't have the image of being thugs and criminals and whatnot. Even though some of the Asian gangs are some of the most notorious gangs on the planet, the Triad, you see what I mean? They right there.
The Yakuza.
You see what
Don't
I'm
mess
saying?
with them. Don't do that.
So the thing is, man, we have, and like P Money said, we have got to take control of our image. And that's what we're doing here. So shout out to all the brothers, speaking out, and even if you don't agree with the brother, as long as they're doing it in an agreeable, respectful manner, applaud them. You see what I'm saying? But anyway, Terrence hadn't had an opportunity to speak. He's been coming in and out. Let's see how's your mic now, Terrence?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you fine. What would you like to add to the conversation?
Okay, I'm glad you and another brother said that black men have been destroyed for the past 60 years with gangs and crack, and that's why we can't check these females. In order to check these females, you have to be an organized nation. And when we had the jobs before they were taken from us, before integration, we were able to build our own community. But now, since those manufacturing jobs have been shipped overseas, we've been our power has been broken in the society to where we can't. We're too busy. We love to kill each other. Minister Farrakhan pointed out that there was a 9-year period where there were 50,000 gang killings in Los Angeles in 1 year.
I don't think it was 50,000, brother. I don't think it was it wasn't 50,000. It was 1,000 each year. Because I remember
it was not a 9-year period, 50,000.
It wasn't 50,000. I know because I know. And if you give me the time period, I've actually did a broadcast on the highest number of killings in Los Angeles was 1993, and that was 1,600 killings in Los Angeles. Now you might mean nationwide. It could be 50,000, but not in LA alone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And it was more than the same 9-year period than the Vietnam War, where people were shooting each other every day. So our unity's not there. And Brother Counsel, you make one mistake when you say we're not in slavery anymore. We're still in slavery, and slavery's still legal.
I don't believe we're in slavery. I think it's an insult to our ancestors.
Let me make a point.
No, you made your point.
No, Article 1.
You made your point, brother.
The Constitution says it.
No, sir. No, sir.
We're 3/5 of a human being in the Constitution.
Okay, go ahead. You all were talking to guests. I'm going to stop you right there, and if you want to add something else, fine. It's an insult to our ancestors to tell us that we're still in slavery. Those people who were shackled and put at the bottom of those ships and brought over here for that 6-week voyage to the United States. It's an insult to tell them that we're still in slavery. It's an insult to tell those black people who endured chattel slavery and watched their children being sold off and taken away from them for 250 years. That's an insult. We are not slaves anymore by any means. These men got passports, they got money, they can leave this country anytime they choose. They're not slaves. If they choose to stay, and we're talking about some psychological issues that they may have, some lies that they've been sold to believe that there's no other place for them. Now, when you're reference to 3/5 of a person, a lot of people oftentimes misinterpret what's being said. They meant 3/5 of a person for the purpose of counting you for voting. Why? Because the Northerners had more white people. They had more population. Places like South Carolina, Georgia, they had sparse, they had very few white people, but they had a lot of slaves. And they say, hey, you got to count these Negroes for something, because these Negroes are going to be out on this road. They might not be a full person, but it was a 3/5 compromise. It meant that they were 3/5 of a human being for the purpose of counting. And this is, and I want you to listen to me. This is only the enslaved population, because 25% of the black people in this country at all times were not slaves, and they were counted as landowners. This is what you got. Black people own slaves. In South Carolina, 60%.
This is true.
You see what I'm saying? So we can't keep citing that and then not citing all the other facts to go with. We're not slaves anymore. But I'm gonna disagree with you on that point. And I think everybody else, all these other free men in here, disagree with you.
That's
on
why.
that.
Can I make a point?
Let Terrence finish, and then we'll open it up. We only got 5 minutes left. We then got off.
Okay.
I'm absolutely correct on the fact that we're not slaves, and it would be, as I said, it'll be dishonorable to our ancestors to say we were. But go ahead, sir.
Okay. If that were true, why haven't they repealed the Dred Scott Act that cross references?
The Dred Scott Act, which was appealed in Brown versus the Board of Education, and you don't have to repeal it if you legislate it out of business. You see what I'm saying? You legislate it. You don't have to repeal every case. The Supreme Court interprets the law. The legislator makes the law. If the legislator creates a law that says, okay, that's no longer relevant, you don't have to repeal it.
I think that's another show.
But the brother, he brought it up.
Dennis, I wanted to say something. You said you wanted to what we can do to take back leadership. I also would tell men to join local organizations. Like me, I was part of the Urban League. I was part of the Community Action Organization. Matter of fact, when I started my career, I donated. Basically, I gave back to the community where I work, and I took a pay cut by working in those organizations. But I built very good relationships with people in the community, and we helped the community. You know what I'm saying? We met community
chambers of commerce, things like that. That's awesome. Let me get my man Ricky Manor in here. He just came through. Ricky, what would you like to add, bro? You ain't got a whole lot of time. You late, but that's all right. Go ahead. What would you like to add?
Basically, I was going to piggyback on him about taking leadership back in the community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think Urban League would be the way to go. I think we'd have to start our own grassroots and become organized within ourselves.
You know what? Let me tell you something, baby. Take everything. Like, don't look over in the Urban League, Boy Scouts, Dog Catcher Union, whatever it is. Take it over. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Take everything. Don't leave. If it's a position available, take it. That's what. And then go in there and elbow your way to the front. I don't care if you're sergeant in arms. I want you to be in there telling the president what to do, yelling from the back of the room. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Be disruptive, be argumentative. But remember, you are advocating on behalf of black men and black boys. You're advocating for our young sons. Do what our brothers that came before us didn't do. That's all I'm asking. So it don't matter what the NAACP, go in there yelling and screaming and talking stuff and saying this is what we need to do, and be disruptive. We can no longer have business as usual because we losing. And this is especially for the black men that have been complaining about black men traveling overseas. Okay, well, you want to stay here, and this is your obligation. You are going to have to jump in there. You're gonna have to be either a little crazy, a little courageous, and do what you got to do. But look, man, I appreciate everybody coming through. P Money, the best, Team Barracuda, Alvin, Holden, Ricky Manor, Gerald, aka Terrence, Black Samurai. Man, this has been a Good conversation. Shout out to everybody who talking shit about me on the internet, baby. You keep me rich.
Thank you so much for having me, Dennis.
Thank you for having me
I
on.
don't mind the boys talking shit. Let them talk shit, man. Go over there and tell him I said what's up. Get his money up. Suing him. That's what I want you to tell him. But other than that, man, I love you guys. God bless you, man.
Same to you, brother.
I appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir. Always. I'm out.